People in these Disney groups freak me out. It does not have to be stressful. Let me explain this to you. If you are worried about bringing a baby or a toddler to Disney World, don't worry. Please don't worry. I got you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Sierra and I'm a content creator with a niche of lifestyle, but really toddler mom, traveling with toddlers, Disney, all the fun, great things that make me me. So if you like stuff like that, I am about to be rolling out a ton more travel content as it's starting to get warmer. I am from Michigan, so I've been locked in the house for a couple months. But we have so many travel plans. I have so many video ideas. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of this juicy information that I'm about to throw at you guys in the next couple weeks. But for now, let's get into this video. Today I'm doing a highly requested ultimate guide to Disney with infants and toddlers. I'm going to be talking about both Disney World and Disneyland, so whether you're going to California or Florida. This is just a general overview because it's the same when you break it down to the basics, how to prepare, what to expect, and how to make it through. Disney with an infant or toddler is 100% doable, and this is the one thing you need to remember, okay? Don't overdo it. I've taken my son to Disney 5 times so far. The first time being when he was 6 months old, and then we're going again next month for his 2nd birthday. So that's 6 trips in 2 years. So I'm not a pro. I'm not a pro by any means. I'm not claiming that. But I do know a few things and I want to pass on that information to you guys. So the things that we're tackling today in this video are how to pack properly, some must-have items while you're in the park, no height requirement rides that both infants, babies, pregnant women can all enjoy, nap strategy, and just overall tips for some stress-free Disney fun. We're going to start with packing and essentials. And if you're like me and you're trying to plan all the perfect Disney outfits, I really just absolutely love putting together family coordinating outfits. The first time we went, yeah, we did the matching family t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I kind of like to step out of the box now. So I do a lot of Disney thrifting. You'll find some really, really good things at the thrift stores. I also love Walmart. Walmart has some of the cutest Disney outfits, especially for babies and toddlers. And then you can always coordinate the adult outfits with that somehow. The cutest little overall sets and like little dresses. Oh, they're so cute. We get so many of our outfits from Walmart. Also, Target has a lot of great options. Online, they have way more options than in store. A lot of people's go-to thing is to go on Etsy, and Etsy has a ton of really, really cute things. But to me, I feel like a lot of it is overpriced. And they're just a lot of them very generic and not worth the money to me. So there are some good finds on there, but if you're crafty or if you just have a little bit of a sense of design, you can actually create your own graphics and go on printful.com and just make your own t-shirt. They'll print them, press them for you, ship them right to your house. I did our Ratatouille shirts that way. I did my son's one Mickey shirt that way for his 1st birthday. If you follow me on other platforms and seen any outfits that we've worn to the parks that you like, I have them all linked on my LTK. You can shop through my LTK and pick out some outfits like there too. I'll put the link in the description so it's easy to click on. Okay, now let's talk about what's going in that diaper bag. And I'm not gonna mom you. I'm not gonna say, do you have your diapers? Do you have your wipes? Do you have your changing pad? Of course, you know to bring that. You're a mother or a father, you know what your kid needs. But let's talk about like some extra things, okay? When my child was an infant and he was still like doing bottles, we would literally bring like so many bottles to the park. And we honestly didn't need to. Like, bring what you need, and don't be afraid to forget something, because if you do forget something, you can always grab it, usually at one of the baby care centers. We're gonna wanna pack an extra outfit. So usually we pack an extra outfit and then an extra outfit for nighttime, because when we're in Disneyland, it tends to get a little bit colder at nighttime. So I always bring some kind of sweat outfit for him to change into. But again, do not stress yourself out with an extensive list. You know your child, you know what they need from day to day. And again, if you forget something, it's okay. You know, that's my favorite tip when I'm packing to go somewhere. I'm like, if I forget it, there's a Target nearby, I will just buy it, okay? Don't stress yourself out. If you forget something, you can get it at the baby care center. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. Now, some Disney specific needs. You're probably gonna wanna pack a travel fan, the ones that can like attach onto the stroller. A lot of people bring cooling towels. If you tend to get very hot and if you're going in the summer months, that's probably a good idea. I wouldn't say it's a necessity, but again, you know yourself, if you get hot and think a cooling towel would help, by all means go for it. Ponchos, a lot of people do pack ponchos, especially if you're going to Disney World. You know how the Florida weather works. It literally rains almost daily for about an hour or so, and then you're fine. A lot of people pack the ponchos. A lot of people use that as a time to go do lunch. We don't usually pack ponchos, but a cool little feature at Disney that just Disney guests do unprovoked is like when you're riding a water ride, if you get off, there's usually someone like that will hand you their poncho that they just used on the ride. And I don't know if it sounds gross to you guys, they just recycle them person. I'm taking that poncho. If I'm going on Tiana's, I'm looking for the poncho. Give me the poncho. When my son was younger, we would bring a portable sound machine to the parks so he could like nap in his stroller with it. And then some smaller little toys that they can play with if you're taking them to wait in line with you. I usually just bring the bag that I pack for him to go on the airplane with all of the little travel toys. I usually just throw that under my stroller and maybe take a toy or two out if we're going to wait in a line. And packing for the hotel itself, one thing that you will not catch me traveling without is our Hatch sound machine. I bring that thing everywhere. To this day, he is about to turn 2 and he still sleeps with the sound machine. Just a really good way to like drown out any noise that you hear at the hotels, you know, people in the hallways, the room next door. It's just a really good way to like keep your child asleep. There's nothing really extra that I pack besides the sound machine. Of course, I'm traveling with his favorite blanket, but if you're staying at a Disney resort, you will notice that the beds are kind of high up and the floors are hard, okay? The floors are very hard. On our last trip, on our very first night, I was so nervous all night I could not sleep because I just kept thinking my kid was gonna roll off the bed. And mom's superpowers, he literally was rolling off the bed in the middle of the night. I woke up out of my dead ass sleep and caught him before he hit the floor. I don't know how it happened. Thank you, Jesus. But I did learn that you can actually request, and you can call and request rails that you can put like on the bed. So keep that in mind if you're staying at a Disney resort. I asked on my Instagram yesterday specifically what questions people wanted me to address about Disney in this video, and I got so many answers about Disney's wagon rule. So let's talk about the strollers that you can and cannot bring into Disney. I'm reading the Disney website right here. It says strollers larger than 31 inches wide and 52 inches long are not permitted. Wheelbarrow style strollers are also not permitted. They don't want you to bring in wagons. I, for the life of me, cannot understand why Disney would allow these huge double and triple strollers, but wouldn't allow you to just throw all those kids in one wagon. I don't get it. But there are ways you can bring a wagon in, and those are medical reasons, and that's something for you and your family to discuss with a cast member. So make sure you're preparing properly. We use our UPPAbaby Vista V2, and it's actually perfect for the park. I love the push and turn capabilities of that, especially when you're trying to push and maneuver through crowds. The amount of storage underneath is just perfect because I do not travel light. We usually have like 2 backpacks and then all the excessive shopping bags that I somehow acquired by the end of the day. It all fits perfectly under there. And I just have to add on my own double cup holder and phone mount and I'm good to go. I know a lot of people will purchase like the really cute like stroller signs, or they add lights to their stroller so they can find it in the day or night. Personally, I've never done that and I probably don't plan to. I've never had an issue finding my all black generic looking stroller that looks like everyone else's stroller, but I do usually have like a cup that I can identify. I put it in the cup holder and it makes it easy to spot it in the crowd. So really, if you just have an item on your stroller that makes it stand out, you should be fine. If you're going with a child that still fits in a baby carrier, highly recommend bringing that too. When my son was 6 months old and we took him to Disney, we did utilize a baby carrier. We used the Ergobaby Omni Classic, and I cannot say enough positive things about that baby carrier. It's so comfy to wear and it's so easy to adjust between me holding the baby, or if his dad was holding the baby, it was just easy to switch it in between and adjust it. Okay, magic bands, which if you're not aware, magic bands are like those little wrist things that have like the cute little, you can like scan it to do, you can pay, you can scan your tickets, you can scan your Lightning lanes. It's almost like a Disney Apple Watch without the screen. It's just the scanning capability. Truthfully, it's not a necessity. I know a lot of people love them, swear by them, they're fine, they're cute. We've never bought them. Again, I can see how they would be helpful, but it's just not a necessity. You can honestly use that money in other ways. We just use our phones or our Apple Watches to scan when we need to scan our ticket. Disney parks are the perfect theme parks to take infants and toddlers to because they have so many no height requirement rides. If you guys want a complete breakdown of all of the rides and attractions that your toddler or infant are gonna love that have no height requirement, I do have something you can download in my bio. It's free. I just kind of compiled a list all in one place for you to look at. So we talked about the ones that your little one can ride. Now let's talk about the ones that they cannot, but you still want to ride. You're going to utilize what they call rider switch. With the rider switch, guests take turns experiencing an attraction basically. Someone's going to wait with the kids while the rest of the party rides the ride. The main thing to know, when you go to enter the line, you need to let that cast member know that you're going to be doing the rider switch so they can scan in the ticket for the person who is waiting, so that way they don't have to wait in the long line again. They can go right through the Lightning Lane line with one other person when you guys are done riding the ride. Meeting characters is always a hit or miss, I've noticed with some kids. My son loved meeting the characters on our first 3 trips with him. So he was 6 months, 1, and then 13 months. He would walk right up to them, hug them, just wanted to hold on to them. If you know about Disney's hug rule, you're just gonna melt when you see your child hug a character and the character is not allowed to let go until your kid does. It's so cute to see. But when we just took him this last September, he was about 1.5. He didn't really want anything to do with the characters. He wanted to look from afar, but he had no interest in like being up close to them. Just try to gauge the interest of your child if you're gonna do these character meets and you are trying to avoid tears. My go-to rule is kind of start at a distance and let your child approach them if they want to. That's always worked the best for us. Let's talk about nap time because they need it. As much as I think they don't because they're at Disney, they need it. And so do you because you're gonna love your downtime when they're sleeping if you stay in the parks. Rule of thumb is to utilize those baby care centers. They're such a great place to go to just to get that quiet time, kind of start winding things down, or take them on a more slower, quieter moving ride. If you're in Disney World, go on the People Mover. At either park, you can go on the train. Those are great rides that kind of just wind down. Your child might even fall asleep on that ride. Now, I know a lot of families will actually leave the park midday to go accommodate their child's nap and then come back after. And if that works for you and your family, perfect, go do that. Me personally, I have FOMO and I want to spend every waking hour of park hours in the park that day, okay? So we've never even formally sleep trained our child, and that has actually worked in our benefit when it comes to traveling because that kid is going to get his nap in no matter where, no matter when, okay? So he's going to pass out in his stroller for about 2 to 3 hours, and then we're going to utilize that time to do as much as we can with those rider switches, okay? That's the perfect time to be swapping when your child is asleep and doesn't have to sit there and physically wait for you to go ride a ride and then swap and then they ride the ride. Like, it's a no-brainer. Another common question I received on Instagram was to talk about the toddler and baby food options while in the parks. I've seen a lot of people in those Disney groups spreading things like, oh, it's too expensive to eat in the parks, pack your own stuff. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. If you spend money on anything in those parks, let it be the snacks, okay? Write that down. Write that down. Let's focus on the fact that they say it's too expensive. If you're trying to sit down at a restaurant every time you want to eat, hell yeah, it's too expensive. But this is how you're gonna do Disney right, okay? I don't plan much when it comes to Disney, but one thing I am planning is my food checklist. On the Notes app in my phone, I have a checklist, okay? And I'm making it through that checklist before I leave the park that day. So let's talk about the ways to get the best bang for your buck when it comes to eating around Disney. We snack around. I don't like to sit down for many meals in Disney because again, I have FOMO. I like to spend my park days running around the park. So I'm gonna snack around, and that way I'm also not filling up so easily, so I have like more room to eat more things. I know such big back behavior. Also, we share things. We share a lot of snacks. One, obviously it's cheaper, but two, it's because you don't know if you're actually gonna like something, so we like to try it together first, and then if we like it, we can get another. And a hack I recently learned on TikTok that I utilized a lot on my last trip was eating off the kids menu. You don't necessarily have to be a kid to eat off the kids menu, and Disney offers so many like phenomenal options on the kids menu. They're fairly inexpensive. You still get to try whatever you wanted, and you're not like so full that you're lagging around the park, and again, you have room for more food later. Now, when it comes to ordering the quick service food, if possible, definitely place a mobile order if you can time it correctly. That way you're avoiding waiting in the long lines, because some of those lines do get extremely long. And try to plan at least one character dining experience. Those are going to make for the greatest memories. Your children are going to be so happy if they love characters. I have a breakdown list that you can download for free. It outlines all of the Disney character dining experiences and what characters you can expect at each one if there are certain characters that you're trying to find. We love Storyteller's Cafe in the Grand Californian Hotel, and we also love Goofy's Kitchen at the Disneyland Hotel when we are in California. And when we go next month, we're gonna try the Minnie and Friends Breakfast in the Park at the Plaza Inn inside the Disneyland Park, because my son is really loving Pooh and Tigger right now, and I think he would just love seeing them for breakfast. If you're at Disney World, you can keep it OG with Chef Mickey's. I know it's a super popular one. That's in Disney's Contemporary Resort. Or if you're traveling with princess lovers, you can always do Cinderella's Royal Table right inside the castle at Magic Kingdom. But don't shun any of the sit-down restaurants throughout the parks just because I said you should snack around, because there are some really great restaurants in there too if you want to take the time and spend the money on it. My all-time favorite restaurant inside a Disney park is inside Disneyland, right inside the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It's called Blue Bayou. It's kind of hard to get into, so we always just try our luck and do the walk-up seating, and we usually can get in because our parties are usually kind of small. If you have to try one restaurant and let it be that one. There's also a really cool drive-in theater style restaurant in Hollywood Studios. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. That's another one that I want to try. Keep in mind that Disney does have allergy friendly options, and then they also have baby food options. You can purchase baby food in the baby care centers if you need it. And speaking of the baby care centers, those are absolute lifesavers. There is one in each park. These are basically just little cute buildings that have a ton of amenities for parents and little ones. They're open during regular park hours, so you can always stop in if you need to. Each facility is complimentary to use. They have quiet rooms, they have nursing rooms, they have changing tables, they have regular restroom facilities. Some of them even have a little tiny toilet for the little ones that are potty trained. They have a little sit down like eating area. They have a little kitchenette with high chairs if you want to feed your baby. It's just a really good place to go and tend to your child that's not in a regular restroom. It's so clean, it's so quiet, it's so well taken care of. There's usually multiple hosts in there that will kind of guide you around and make sure things are moving properly. And this is what I was talking about when I said they sell the important essentials if you need them. They have diapers, wipes, juice, baby food, bottles, sunscreen, over-the-counter medications, clothing, formula. It's all subject to availability, but I've never had an issue of getting what I need when I need. In fact, just on this last trip, we took our child up to the top of the treehouse. I forget exactly what the name of that treehouse. We're at the top, beautiful view of the castle. It's like dusk, so it's like dark and the castle is lit up. Taking in the views is just beautiful. Why did my child just chuck his bottle? There's forever going to be a piece of us at the bottom of that treehouse somewhere, wherever my child's bottle landed. For whatever reason, that was the only one we brought that day, so we had to run to the baby center. And look at that, we got a bottle. Problem solved. Lastly, we are going to talk about some pro tips on how to ensure you have a smooth trip. Number one being stay on site if it's within budget. Just something so special and so magical about being in the Disney bubble. It's worth every penny. If it's your first time going to Disney World, I highly recommend staying at an all-star resort. No matter what anyone tells you, those value resorts are going to be the best bang for your buck. They are so well themed. A lot of the other nicer hotels, they have the Disney vibe, but not like the all-star resorts, specifically all-star movies. That is my favorite all-star resort. The theming is just unmatched at that hotel. If you have a Toy Story lover, it is a no-brainer. We just stayed there in January. I think I was more excited than my child was, but nonetheless, he absolutely loved waking up and walking out our door to see a giant Buzz Lightyear and Woody and all the other characters. The value resorts can be extremely affordable. Sometimes you see them as low as $150 a night, which if you're comparatively speaking, that's not much for staying on a Disney property. The food options are phenomenal. I can only speak to what I remember at All-Star Movies where we just stayed. All the other hotels I was a lot younger, so I can't really speak to the food credibility. But at All-Star Movies, the food was delicious. They had a lot of options. It was the perfect place when you're coming home from the parks or if you're getting up early and want like a quick snack. They're great options. Plus, when you stay on a Disney property, you get early access to the parks, and that in itself is worth it. Transportation to the Disney parks from your Disney resort is always really great too. Some hotels you can take the monorail, some you can take the Skyliner, but a lot of them is just the Disney bus, which is a great option as well. Now, if you're going to Disneyland, it's not going to be as affordable when we're talking about hotels. They do have 3 hotels on site. They have the Grand Californian, the Disneyland Hotel, and the Pixar Place Hotel. All beautiful, beautiful properties. Like, they're just perfection. They're just expensive. And for a lot of people, that's not going to be in budget. The lowest I've ever seen was the Disneyland Hotel and the Pixar Place. I saw them go for about $418 a night on like one random Monday throughout the year or Tuesday. It's like, they're expensive. They're expensive. Especially when you start talking about the Grand Californian. Now you're looking at like $1,000 a night. But I mean, that's the same as the Grand Floridian. So I mean, like, good, better, best system is how I work with hotels, okay? We've never stayed on property in Disneyland. Next month, we are staying at the Pixar Place Hotel. And I'll have more to say about it then. But for now, I can give you 3 hotel recommendations right around Disneyland that we highly recommend. All 3 of these are going to be Disneyland Good Neighbor hotels, so you can trust that they are up to par and you're still going to feel like you're in the Disney bubble. The first one is the Candlewood Suites. And that one to me is the best bang for your buck because you're going to get a kitchenette in all of the rooms, and if you're traveling with kids, you know that that is just an absolute luxury. The rooms are super clean, very spacious, and they have like the friendliest staff. And it's only about a 15-20 minute walk to the park, which if you're walking as much as you walk in Disney, like, that's nothing. So we always opt to do the walk, one, because I hate folding up a stroller to get on a shuttle bus, but I'm like, you might as well just finish getting your steps in. But if you don't want to walk, there are 2 options. You can either take the bus that comes and picks you up right at the hotel, but there is a small fee for that. Or you can walk like 5 minutes to the Toy Story parking lot and jump right on that Disneyland shuttle bus and take that to the park for free. Next up is the Westin Anaheim Resort. A little bit more pricey, but some of the rooms overlook DCA and you can literally see like the rides moving, and it's just a beautiful view. The same fee-based shuttle is available to pick you up from the Westin, but it's just a 15-minute walk, and we've done that walk so many times. It's a beautiful walk too. The Westin also has the most gorgeous rooftop restaurant, and if it's the night that Disneyland does fireworks, you can sit right at your table and watch the fireworks. Another super popular one that we love is the Grand Legacy at the park. This one you can like throw a rock and hit Disneyland. It is a 5-minute walk. So close, so close. It's moderately priced. You can usually find some discounts on their website. They're usually running a couple specials you can snag. But overall, it's a very typical hotel. A lot of the rooms are exterior entries, and the rooms are very spacious, normal, what to expect from a hotel. The biggest perk is the proximity to Disneyland. It's right there. It's a 5-minute walk to the front gate. You can't beat that. The next tip we're going to talk about is if you should or shouldn't splurge on the Lightning lanes. Lightning lanes are a paid for skip the line service that you can purchase in addition to your park admission. Let's talk about right now the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. I'm sorry. It's not for me, okay? At one of the parks you have to pay like $450 a person to add this onto your ticket. I'm sorry, that's not worth it to me, okay? That feels to me like the biggest money grab, but I know some people buy it and some people enjoy it, and that's fine if that works for you. But me personally, I can think of a plethora of things I can spend $450 on in that park. I have seen a few people who purchased it talk about how great it was. They rode all the rides in the park. They waited maybe a total of 1 hour all day for all the rides, and they were done with the park by 4 p.m. Boring. Sorry, that's boring. A lot of our best memories are made like waiting in line when you're like forced to talk to each other and like entertain each other for X amount of time. Sorry, I think that's just part of Disney. You have to wait in the line. We don't have to if you buy the Premier Pass. But me personally, I'm not doing that. I mean, if you're there strictly for the rides only, then buy it. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. Now the multi-pass Lightning Lane, that to me is a little bit more worth it. They're fairly affordable for each park. With the multi-pass Lightning Lane, you can actually get on and book your Lightning Lanes as early as 7 a.m., 7 days out from the day you check into your Disney resort. If you're not staying on property, it's 3 days out. You can reserve up to 3 Lightning Lanes at a time to start, but you can only have 3 current Lightning Lanes on your app going in one given time. So it's kind of like a trade-in, trade-out system. Once you finish one ride, then you can book another one. I would recommend booking like the big main rides as early in the day as possible so you can get those out of the way, and definitely just try to knock out the more popular ones first. For example, Slinky Dog Dash in Hollywood Studios, or Toy Story Midway Mania in either Hollywood Studios or DCA. Those ones always get a long line, so get those out of the way as early as possible. And then there's the single pass Lightning Lane. So this is reserved for the more popular rides that are not included with the multi-pass. So for example, Radiator Springs Racers in DCA or Tron in Magic Kingdom are very popular rides, and they are not included with a multi-lane pass. Those are a single, like you purchase just for that ride that you're gonna go in the Lightning Lane. We've really never had an issue with waiting in the lines, and we've never purchased any additional Lightning Lanes. I think because we've gone so many times, we're really good at maneuvering the park. But I did create a rope drop strategy to share with you guys that I utilize because, again, I have FOMO. I need to do all the things, okay? And there's a certain way to do it if you want to get them all done. I'll put the link in the description as well. And that way you guys can utilize it too to just maximize your overall time in the parks. If it were my first time going with littles, I'll be honest with you guys, I would at least get the multi-Lightning Lane pass. Like I said, it's fairly inexpensive, and that way you can kind of guarantee that you're going to get on a lot of rides. And then you can utilize my rope drop strategies to make sure you hit all those major rides that aren't included with the multi-pass. And whether you're rope dropping or not, I would just highly recommend getting to the parks as early as possible. In my experience, I don't really see the parks getting overly crowded until about 11 a.m. So that's a good chunk of time that you can get in there early and kind of knock out a lot of rides. Disney trips do not have to be these grand ordeals, extremely expensive vacations. Now they are pricey, I'm not gonna lie. You will spend a good chunk of money going on a Disney trip. But something we did to kind of help offset a lot of the costs was on our second trip, we ended up opening a Disney Visa Premier card. Kind of been a saving grace because when we opened the card, they were doing a special where if you spent $1,000, you got a $400 statement credit back. I don't know if you've been to Disney, but it is not hard to spend $1,000 and then you get $400 free back. Disney math. So yeah, we ended up buying our tickets on the card and we did a couple other like little shopping things. We hit $1,000 within like the day. Again, we bought our park tickets on it. So we hit $1,000 and within like, I want to say like 72 hours, like it was quick. That $400 statement credit hit the account. I'm talking about free money, okay? You're going to spend the money anyways. You might as well like do things that work in your favor, because who wouldn't enjoy an extra $300 or $400 statement credit, whatever they're offering at the time. They changed it a lot, so just make sure you're getting a good deal if you're going to open up a Disney Visa card. You also get a ton of other perks, like 6 months interest free to pay off your Disney vacation. You get discounts in the stores and at some of the restaurants. Like I always use my card if I'm souvenir shopping. You get exclusive character opportunities. That is one thing we have not utilized yet because I always forget. But there is a spot in Epcot, and then I think there's one in DCA. And it's not guaranteed what characters it's going to be, but a lot of the time it's like Minnie and Pluto, or one is Stitch. Like you get to go in this little building and you have an exclusive character photo op. And then while you're spending all this Disney money, you're racking up rewards points that you can redeem for more vacations, Disney cruises, Disney entertainment, other Disney shopping. Like if you're going to spend the money, you might as well do things that you're going to get some type of return on investment, okay? Now the last tip I will leave you with was what I started this with. That's how to avoid overstimulation and over planning. Number 1, don't take it so serious. You are dealing with toddlers and infants. You know how they work in the regular world. It's not going to be any different in the Disney world in terms of ease. Like I said, I understand this can be a pricey vacation, but the more you just allow yourself to breathe and just go with the flow, you're going to be much happier. Stop listening to what these crazy people say in the Disney group. Those Facebook groups are diabolical sometimes, okay? The Disney tricks and tips group, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No, you do not need $500 a day per person for a souvenir and food shop. No, you don't need that. Stop listening to people that tell you that you need to wake up on the ass crack of dawn 42 months before your trip to book your Lightning lanes and food reservations, okay? Some things, yes, you do need reservations for, but other times, like, you can still make it happen. I wasn't able to get a reservation to get my son's haircut at the Harmony Barbershop because reservations sold out literally within like 30 seconds of the day we wanted to go. It's insane. So what did we do? We got up that morning. We made it to the park by like 8:30. The barbershop opened at 9. He was getting his haircut by 9:10, okay? Just because you don't get the reservation doesn't mean you're not going to be able to do it. There are ways around it. The fear-mongering that happens in those Disney groups is like 10 times worse than what we see on Fox News and CNN. Now, the information no one asked for, but I'm so excited to give you anyways, is... Actually, you know what? Someone did ask what my recommendations were for parks for ages, okay? One person asked. So my favorite parks based on age, let's start with me at my big age of 27, okay? I am a Disney's California Adventure Park girly for life. It's similar to Epcot with all of the food festivals and drinking that you can do. Vibes are just immaculate. There are so many character meet and greet opportunities. And you guys know I'm Pixar's biggest fan. Pixar Pier knocks Pixar Plaza and Hollywood Studios out of the park. Now for what you guys really want to know with the little kids, what parks you should go to. Now I'm speaking my personal opinion with my son. I'm so glad that we started with Disneyland when he was 6 months old and did that a couple times before we did Disney World. The California parks are just so much easier to digest and get through. There's way less stress around planning. You still get all of the great no height requirement rides. And it's all packed into 2 parks instead of 4. And these 2 parks, you don't have to take transportation to get to. You walk outside and you literally walk like 100 feet to the next entrance. Like you can just cross back and forth the park hop. So honestly, I know a lot of people are not going to agree or want to hear this, but if you're dealing with kids 3 and under, I would start with Disneyland. I grew up going to Disney World and I constantly hear people say, oh, well, Disney World is the real Disney. Disneyland can fit in Disney World's parking lot. Okay, fun fact, Disneyland came first. And to me, Disneyland feels way more magical and nostalgic than Disney World ever will. But I'm not hating on Disney World. I love Disney World too for its own reasons. Disney World is fantastic. All 4 parks are beautiful in their own ways. One more thing I'm gonna add. Do not listen to people that tell you to skip Animal Kingdom. I'm sorry for throwing so much information at you guys, but I'm just so passionate about Disney and planning Disney, especially with toddlers. I just want to share all the information I have because I know a lot of people really stress themselves out with planning. But the truth is, Disney with a toddler infant is totally doable. You can do it. You can absolutely do it and you're going to have the best time. Like I said, I have a lot more Disney and travel content rolling out. So if you like this video and you're looking for more, go ahead and subscribe. like, set the alert, follow me on all my other socials where I post way more like in real time. So especially when we go to Disney next month, I'm just gonna have a ton more content to push out, and I would love if you guys were there to see it. If you guys have any other questions about planning Disney, traveling with toddlers, drop them in the comments. I would love to create more videos based on things you guys actually are asking me. And don't forget to grab all the freebies I dropped for you guys below in the description just to make your planning a little bit simpler. And I'll see you guys in the next video.